Ty Simpson has been officially named the starting quarterback for the University of Alabama. It was first reported by Chris Lowe and Colin Gay of Tuscaloosa News. There have been Pete Nakos and others have officially, said it as well. And then to, put the icing on the cake, Yay Alabama drops an article, an interview with Ty Simpson saying, first exclusive interview with quarterback one. So at this point, it is all but guaranteed, right? It is 100% guaranteed, from the news media as well as the official public sources within the university, being the NIL collective, have said Ty Simpson is your starting quarterback. So that answers the question who your starting quarterback is. This is something that we've talked about. I talked to Nick Kelly about him. I talked to, all of my guests over the summer. I really asked them about Ty Simpson, and all of us kind of had the, expectation of Ty Simpson's your quarterback one. And unless he gives you some massive reason to not be the quarterback, he will be your quarterback moving forward. And myself and others are under the mindset that Ty Simpson is going to be very good, right? So as we go into talking about Ty Simpson, I'm personally of the mindset, right? I want to think about the offense. I'm personally of the mindset that not only is Ty Simpson going to be a starting quarterback, I've said on this program multiple times, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. I would not be shocked if he was a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. I know that's high praise, but I do think that his skill set combined with Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, as well as the receiver talent and running back talent that he has, I think that he's going to have enough talent around him. And he is, he has the pedigree and the arm talent and the command of the offense that I think he is going to be at a level where he is going to be a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the SEC. I firmly believe that. As I also said in one of my more recent episodes when I was talking about my kind of predictions, one of the things that had been said is last season was one of the first seasons that Kalen DeBoer did not have a 4,000-yard passer. In almost every other season, Kalen DeBoer had a 4,000-yard passer. And that just speaks to how good he is at developing the quarterback position, the type of offense that he runs, and how much trust that he has in his passers. I think that Ty Simpson is going to be the next in that line of 4,000-yard passers, right? And again, this is just going to what has Kalen DeBoer done from a development of quarterback perspective, right? You have your Jake Hayners of the world. You have your, of course, Michael Penix Jr.'s. You have these guys that have shown an ability to, thrive in his offense. And, it's the reason why Michael Penix goes from Indiana to Washington and has the success that he has. Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb have had a ton of success with the quarterback position. I think you also have to look at the fact that, again, the receiver talent that you have. We've talked, obviously, at length about Ryan Williams. You've got Jeremy Bernard, which I expect to have a massive breakout season. That's without talking about Isaiah Horton, which I have heard a lot of really good things out about him. Obviously, the transfer from Miami. He is a name that I don't think is being talked about enough. Within Alabama circles, you're hearing him talked about a good bit, but he's not one that's being talked about a ton. Clint Lamb really likes Rico Scott for that wide receiver 4. I know some others potentially like a lot Zero Brooks or Jalen Hale coming back. You have plenty of guys that I think are going to slide into that position. We haven't even talked about our guys switching over from the corner side, right? So we have plenty of plenty of players that I think are going to be, impact position guys at that wide receiver position. And then you have a guy throwing the rock to them, a quarterback that I think is going to have absolute and total command of the offense. And I think he's going to have a command of the offense in a way that Jalen Milroe just didn't have, right? When we talk about Jalen Milroe, you talk about his athleticism first, right? Not to say that he wasn't skilled at the quarterback position, because at times he was, but there obviously were shortcomings that he had. Like, he threw a great deep ball. His intermediate and short game definitely needed work. Sometimes his, understanding where pressures were coming from needed work. Maybe his, communication with the offensive line and making sure that they understood where the pressures were coming from needed work, right? There were things that he definitely had to work on, but there were also things that he did really well. I think that what Ty Simpson's going to bring you is a guy that's been in the offense for a very long time, or been in the system for a very long time, I guess I should say. Obviously, it's only his second year with Kalen DeBoer, but he's obviously been with those offensive linemen for quite some time at this point. He has a command and a respect of the players. For those of you unaware, I know I posted a video on it last season, and there's actually the next season one is coming up here this next week. But last year, the church that I go to, Church of the Calvary Baptist Church, there next to the campus and right next to the stadium, there is a thing called Squad Sunday where all the football players come in, they worship with everybody, and they present their Christian Brotherly Award to who kind of they think leads them from a Christian perspective. And Ty Simpson was one of the winners of that award last season, right? This is a person that has a huge amount of respect within his teammates, on the field, off the field. You've seen collabs with him, obviously with the camo NIL deal. You saw him taking guys hunting. Just in general, I think that Ty Simpson has a lot of respect in that locker room. Additionally, the fact that I'm sure he had people throwing NIL money at him to transfer somewhere else to be a guaranteed starter. He has a ton of respect from that sense that he stayed with Kalen DeBoer through thick and thin, right? This is a situation of he was not named the starting quarterback last season. Many people think that he was the better quarterback last season, just didn't have the control from an NIL and other reasons, right? We've talked at length about all the things that kind of were at play last season. But I think that Ty Simpson has a respect of the team that's kind of hard to quantify. And I think that when you have a quarterback that has that level of respect with the team and also has that level of connection with the players, I think that that's what you get, right? You combine that with incredible wide receiver talent that we talked about. You got really, really good offensive line talent, right? No matter who's going to play, you obviously have your guarantees with like Caden Proctor and, a couple of others, but you have a very good line. I think that obviously you have a couple of question marks. I know Gino Vandermark has been competing for a spot. You have 6 or 7 guys really competing for 5 spots currently. Very curious to see how that fully works out. But a few of those, obviously Parker Brailsford, Caden Proctor, there are a few of those that are definitely set in stone at this point. And I think that you have a really, really good offensive line. And then Ryan Grubb is asked about the running game, and he responds with basically one name, and it's Jam Miller. He wasn't even asked who's the running back that's looking the best. He said, how do you think the running game is going to be this year? And he just goes, Jam Miller, right? That's a guy who Alabama fans should know very, very well. Obviously, last season he split some carries with Justice Haynes. That is no more. Haynes is gone. So now you really have it's the Jam Miller show. Additionally, on top of that, of just having Jam Miller, he has been by far your best pass blocking running back. So he's going to compete, obviously, in the he's going to be a 3-down back, right? He's going to be there to be able to be pass blocking. He's also going to be able to run between the tackles. He's not a guy that's, real super twitchy, but he does have, quick step. He can obviously make people miss. He's just not going to be one that's just going to, nonstop move after move after move, but he definitely has that ability to make guys miss. He's also can be a bruiser, right? He has the ability to run through guys. He can kind of do a little bit of it all. But I expect him to be the main stalwart running back this upcoming season, right? He's going to get, I heard Clint Lamb say he thinks somewhere between, 12 and 15 carries a game. I think that's completely reasonable to think out of Jam Miller. And again, he's somebody that can be on the field the whole time because of his ability to pass block. Then you see what we did with him last season. You also can have him coming out of the backfield, and he has good enough hands that he can be a pass catcher out of the backfield as well, right? So I think that he is going to be your running back that is going to be featured for a huge percentage of the season, right? So when you think about a quarterback, and when you talk about the quarterback position, you have to think about the quarterback as a whole. Not just, is this quarterback good? Do they have good arm talent? Because the best quarterback in the world, if they have nobody to throw to and no offensive line and no running back to help take pressure off them, they're going to look atrocious, right? You see it time and time and time again, right? Think about the NFL. You have these quarterbacks that get drafted number 1 overall and then just look like they get absolutely eaten alive because they have nobody to do anything with, right? That's like a very common issue in the NFL, and it has nothing to do with the quarterback being bad. It partially has to do with the system around him, right? So we take that to Alabama. You have Ty Simpson coming in. You know that he's going to have very, very good receivers, right? No matter what you think about the guys behind your Ryan Williams and Isaiah Horton and Jeremy Bernard, you minimum have 3 elite guys, and you potentially have others behind them. Then you have one very, very good running back at a minimum in Jam Miller, right? A guy that you've seen a lot of success out of. You know what you're getting with Jam Miller, and a guy that Ryan Grubb, that didn't even coach him last season. It's like, the running game's going to be perfect. You got Jam Miller. You have your offensive line, right? Again, your offensive line, it's going to be good. You're not super concerned. Obviously, there are a few question marks. There are a few positions that are still being battled out. But the offensive line is by and large going to be pretty good. You're not super concerned. Your tight end position, right? Again, what you're getting out of the tight end position. Cuevas and some of the others, that you're going to be playing those guys. You have some other freshmen that are going to help compete. But that in general, your tight end position is going to be fine. Now you look at Ty Simpson from that standpoint. A guy who's been in the program for quite some time. A guy that's obviously played under DeBoer has learned under DeBoer for an entire season. A guy who has the respect of the locker room. A guy who has a really, really good situation around him. What does Ty Simpson look like now? He looks like a great quarterback in a great position, and he's going to have all the support behind him, and I fully expect that's part of your reason why Ty Simpson comes in and absolutely dominates. I think that he does incredibly, incredibly well. I expect a big game out of him against Florida State. I think that, this is going to be a great situation for Ty Simpson. Obviously, he's a much more DeBoer-style quarterback. He is a much better fit for what DeBoer wants to do. But all of that being said, do not think of Ty Simpson as a guy who is going to stand back there and be a statue. You're not going to see as many quarterback runs as you saw out of Jalen Milroe, but I would not be shocked if you see Kalen DeBoer putting some wrinkles of what happened with Jalen Milroe last season into Ty Simpson, because Ty Simpson has better wheels and has better mobility than people give him credit for. He can move with the football. He can maneuver the pocket. He can do a lot of things. Is he a pass first guy? Absolutely. He's not like Jalen where he's, wanting to run more often than wanting to pass, but he absolutely has the wheels that if they get him in a position where he needs to run, he can absolutely run. He's a big guy. He's a good runner. So don't think that he's just going to be a statue back there with any inability to run. This is not Greg McElroy. This is somebody that actually has some wheels. So just think about that when you're talking Ty Simpson.